Hey guys, Puzzled War here, coming at you with my Floowandereeze deck profile for the month of October. I can't believe that we're almost done with the year. Anyway, just to get started with the deck profile, if you guys just care about the deck image down below, you don't care about my ratios or my card choices or my explanations, there's always going to be a deck image down below. That being said, Floowandereeze is one of my favorite decks, a deck that's really close to me, actually. One of my close people in my life really loves this deck, so I make it a habit to kind of play it every so often. And I think it's a great meta call for the upcoming meta. So let's just get straight into it, okay? For the little birds, for the Floowandereeze, we're running 3 Eglin, 3 Robina, 1 Talkin, and the 1 Stree. Okay, so I'm going to be doing some talking here. So essentially, these are the little birds. Okay, these help you get into your bigger birds, and they kind of kickstart your engine. They're what causes the recycling effect for that Floowandereeze is so known for. So Eglin on normal summon, he gets you to add a level 7 or higher wing beast monster, and then it additionally lets you normal summon. Robina, he's technically the closest thing to a 1 card starter that the deck has. Robina, on normal summon, lets you get a level 4 or lower wing beast from your deck to your hand, and then immediately after normal summon. That's all part of the same effect. This deck is actually one of the decks that rulings do need to be known, and chain links need to be known as well. Okay, so it's honestly a really good, not only a budget friendly deck, this is a budget version of the deck, but it's also very like you need to know it to play the deck effectively. Token lets you target a Floowandereeze card in your banish pile, add it to your hand, and then immediately after you use that effect, normal summon. Stree lets you target a card in either player's graveyard, banish it, and then immediately after, normal summon. So as you guys can tell, this is a normal summon based deck. So you're not going to be special summoning at all from the extra deck. I don't think I've ever special summoned from the extra deck using this deck, but still, that's basically the entire thing. Remember, you do need to get their effects off to gain that ability to additionally normal summon. So let's just say Talkin, you target a card that's banished, like a Floowandereeze card that's banished, and you don't get to add it back for whatever the reason is, you won't get the additional normal summon. Eat Robina, if you run out of level 4 lower wing beast in your deck, you do not get that additional normal summon. So please keep that in mind. So that is it for the little birds. For the big birds, right? The big kahunas, we're running 2 M-Pen. This is my god, this card is a skill drain on legs. This card is fantastic. None of his effects are once per turn. All the little birds effects are once per turn. I do recommend looking at a combo video for Floowandereeze. It's really helpful, and it kind of gives you more tips on how to, chain block and how to utilize the deck a lot more. So, M-Pen. M-Pen, essentially, it requires 2 tributes. On normal summon, you get to add a Floowandereeze Spoiler Trap card from your deck to your hand. Again, none of these effects are once per turn. And then after you do that, you are able to normal summon again off of M-Pen's effect. Again, not once per turn. So the whole combo is Robina, Robina search Eglin, Eglin search M-Pen, tribute summon for M-Pen, and then M-Pen can search out either your Dreaming Town, a map, or an Avid of Adventure. Any Floowandereeze card that you're, any Floowandereeze Spoiler Trap that you're currently missing, or Unexplored Winds. To continue with the big birds, we're running the 1 Mega Raiza and the 1 Apex Avian. Mega Raiza is, I would say, the second best tribute in the deck, because it really does control the board. It controls your graveyard, so you can recycle your shifters and kind of have your opponent on an endless shifter loop, on an endless macrocosmos. I've done that a lot. It stacks your deck, and it stacks your opponent's deck. It's just really, really, really good. Mist Valley Apex Avian is your Omni Negate if your opponent decides to go, okay, end of main phase, and you already know that probably Evenly is going to get played, so you can tribute summon for Mist Valley Apex Avian and just have that Omni Negate there. Obviously, all these just work so well together. This is it for my Winged Beast lineup. I am not running the Smorg package, even the one. I forgot, I think it's like Bird of Perfection, Smorg Bird of Perfection, where it's essentially an additional chain blocker so that your little birds can go off, because remember, you do need to resolve their effects to get that additional normal summon. So if your Robina or Eglin gets ashed, Veilered, or anything like that, you will not get that normal summon, and you're kind of stuck. So what a lot of people do is that they play the Dark Smorg package to chain block. I don't like it, not even at one. I have another card that really I feel is a lot better in this type of deck. Even though it is another Robina search, I just personally do not like it. And then for the hand traps, actually the main reason why I think this deck is so potent, besides M-Pen being a disgusting skill drain for any link-based decks, 3 Shifter. Shifter is insane this format, guys, or this upcoming format. Almost all the decks are Graveyard Reliance. Unchained are Graveyard Reliance, believe it or not, even if they state that, oh, you know, they get their effects by being destroyed. Yes, but they can't recur all their resources from their banish pile, which is insane. Even though they do get their effects, it's really hard for them to recur the resources. Any pesky tier elements, Pearly loses to Shifter. A lot of cards just lose to Shifter. So a lot of decks, I mean, just lose to Shifter. So that this deck does not need the graveyard at all. Because when your face-up birds leave the field, your tiny ones, they go to the banish pile, so they don't get even sent to the graveyard. And you can recur your banished cards with Token, and you can banish your own graveyard with Stree. So just keep that in mind. That is it for the monsters. And I know it's a pretty cut and dry. This is a pretty cut and dry Floowandereeze deck, but it's what's been getting me wins on Dueling Book, and I am going to take this to locals because I have been playing a lot of ninjas, and even though I love ninjas, sometimes I want something a little bit more simplistic and, you know, kind of turn my brain off a little bit. So for the spells, we're running 3 map Floowandereeze in the Magnificent Map. This card is, again, just ridiculous. You really want to see this card. There's a reason why it was limited in the OCG and now it's semi-limited. This card does everything. So during your main phase, you can reveal a level 1 bird in your hand, a Floowandereeze bird, and then banish a Floowandereeze card. So if, let's just say, you want to get something from your deck, you can get that, but usually it's used to chain block Robina or Eglin, so your opponent can't Ash or anything of the sort. So it allows you to kind of kickstart your engine. We're running 4 field spells with terraforming. We're actually running 7 field spells with Advent of Adventure. So obviously this isn't 7 field spells. Advent of Adventure is a quick play spell. Actually, one of the reasons why I even wanted to play this deck again was because it got an upgraded rarity bump into like a prismatic one, so I kind of wanted it. I mean, the deck is dirt cheap, guys. The deck is dirt cheap. You can get the entire main deck for about less than $25, maybe 30. But anyway, so Advent of Adventure essentially lets you banish a winged beast monster from your hand or face up on the field as cost, meaning that your birds are able to dodge imperm, effect veilers, ghost ogre, whatever, I don't know, and then it lets you search out any Floowandereeze monster or a Floowandereeze field spell. So it's almost like a Rhoda for the deck. Actually, it is a Rhoda, except it's even better because it gets you that added protection from imperm and stuff like that, as well as it lets you search out the field spell. Not only that, it also has a pretty nifty effect that lets you gain 500 life points, which is fantastic in game 3 and you're going into time. For the last of the Floowandereeze spells, I am running 2 unexplored Floowandereeze and the unexplored winds. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about this card. This card is fantastic. Yes, the entire deck searches the entire deck, meaning you can search this card off of Advent of Adventure. You can search this card off of M-Pen. Yes, you can even search this card off of a Magnificent Map, banishing this, and then normal summon Token, add this. But by then, you are not allowed to tribute summon your opponent's monsters because you're already midway through your normal summon. So I love opening this card in hand because that means I can activate it. The moment I activate this card, my opponent will respond to it like, oh my god, I have to pop this card. Because if not, I'm just going to tribute my opponent's board off. A lot of Floowandereeze players only play 1. Again, understandable. It's very searchable. But I want this going turn 1 because I can activate it and start tributing my opponent's stuff off. Even if I go first, I can just activate it and sit on it, and during my opponent's turn I can be tributing things off, so my opponent never gets set up. It is such a fantastic card. I was running only 1 and then siding 1 and siding 1 because this card for the mirror match, if you guys don't know, whoever sees this card first wins in the mirror match. So I always tried to side 1 in, but I just think having 2 in the main deck is just so important, especially I guess for me, I'm not an expert Floowandereeze player, but it's just so insane, especially again, in my locals, I play against a lot of Unchained. So Unchained just loses to this card because it's getting sent to the graveyard, it's not getting destroyed. Essentially, I haven't even spoken about the card. Essentially, you can conduct tribute summons that require two tributes by sending one monster you control and one card your opponent controls. It does not target, and it's just an effect that happens. The effect doesn't activate; it just happens. So this automatically scares players into reacting to just this one single card. Not only that, you can also reveal two Wing Beast monsters in your hands and shuffle them into the bottom of the deck, and then draw the same amount of cards that you shuffled back in. So it also increases the consistency of the deck. So that is it for my Floowandereeze spells. I highly recommend trying just 2 Unexplored Winds. It feels really, really good. Yes, opening multiples kind of is like whatever, but I never even open up 1, even though I play 2. But when I do open up the 1, man, I'm just sitting pretty, because I know that M-Pen plus Map plus Dreaming Town and Unexplored Winds, that right there is going to win me the game. I don't care what you say. For the consistency cards, because the deck does lose to itself, I am running 3 pots of Duality and 3 pots of Extravagance. Like I said, this is more of a budget build. My main deck is Ninjas, so I don't feel like taking on my Prosperities from there. But Extravagance just works just as fine in Floowandereeze. The extra deck does not matter. I actually am not even going to showcase the extra deck, because it's literally a bunch of just utopias and useless monsters. But yeah, this is just a +1 in this deck. Main phase 1, you activate it and you just draw 2. It's just really good. For the rest of the spells, or the support spells, so that's it. We're running nine pots. This is one of the few decks that you can utilize 9 pots. If you have Prosperities, by all means, just replace the Extravagance with Prosperities. There's not a problem with that. 3 Book of Moon. I think Book of Moon is just crazy. Again, the fact that you have this plus Advent of Adventures just kind of makes sure that your birds are safe from Imperm and Valor and things that target, so you can get your effects off. It's just really, really good. Little side note. So if your bird, like let's say you normal summon Robina, your opponent activates Imperm on Robina's effect, and you Book a Moon it, if you were to tribute that face down Robina, that Robina gets actually sent to the graveyard, because the effect that when it leaves the field, it gets banished instead, is only while it's face up. So since it's face down, it gets sent to the graveyard. Just a little side note. Plus Book of Moon is just really good for against my opponent, either to bait and negate or to do something. 2 Dark Ruler No Mores. Obviously, this could be anything if you have thrusts or anything, but Dark Ruler No More I think is really good. I'm gearing my deck almost like a going second kind of deck. I feel like Floowandereeze is really strong going second with Unexplored Winds. Again, you can just be tributing all your stuff. Dark Ruler No More plus Unexplored Winds plus a bird or something is just so strong. And for the last of the spells, I am running the 1 Gold Sarcophagus. There's a reason why I don't run the the Smorg package, and it's just because of this 1 card. I like this card. This card is basically it's an additional chain block. It does what Dark Smorg does, essentially. So you activate this. Okay, you activate this card, you banish a bird, and then you can normal summon your Eaglin or your Robina, and then you already have a chain block for that. Or if you need any other card in your engine, Unexplored Winds, a map, or whatever, Gold Sarcophagus is also that card, because you can activate Token to target whatever card and just bring it to hand. I think Gold Sarcophagus is insane. Again, this could be easily changed by a Dark Smorg. I'm not a Dark Smorg, I'm sorry, Smorg Bird of Perfection. I don't know. I just, every time I see Gold Sarcophagus, I just like it more than just the Dark Smorg. So, I'm sorry, Bird of Perfection. So, you guys, I'll leave that to you guys, but this could be a Bird of Perfection if you guys want, or anything else. That is it for my Floowandereeze spells. Excuse me. So, let's get to the traps. The traps is obviously very basic, very small. I am running 3 evenly matched, and the 1 Floowandereeze, and the Dreaming Town. So again, I'm gearing my deck to be more of a go second deck. I feel like if you don't have those power cards like Thrust and Triple Tactics talents, the deck really you kind of have to gear it like a going second deck, because I feel like that's the strongest version of the deck if you don't have those cards. If you do have those cards, obviously you can remove the going second cards and put more going first cards, change them by putting tactics, triple tact talents, or what's this other card, thrust, or even Harpy's Featherstorm. But I have evenly matched. It wins me too many games. I usually choose to, if I can, I go first. Obviously, I'm not running too many going second cards, but evenly is just such a great card, and this deck kind of has a problem going second once a board is already established. So you really want to clear off as much of the board as possible. The one Dreaming Town, you only need the one. Essentially, it's a trap. It's a double summon trap version, Book of Moon. Yeah, I could have explained that a little better. During your main phase, immediately after the effect resolves, you get to normal summon a level 4 lower winged beast monster from your hand. That is not a once per turn effect, so if you run multiples of this card or activate multiples of it in a turn, you are able to. But you only need the one because it is recurable. You can search it off M-Pen. This is usually your number one search off of M-Pen because it allows you to play on your opponent's turn. Which is really, really strong. So you have Map that lets you play on your opponent's turn, but you also have Dreaming Town that lets you play on your opponent's turn. And not only that, it also has a, in effect, like AoE Book of Moon or Book of Eclipse, however you want to call it. So essentially, it if you control a level 7 or higher monster, winged beast monster that was tributed, you can banish this card and change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. So it's just another really good disruption piece. This card is really great. I just run the one, honestly. I was actually testing out Floowandereeze and the Scary Sea. I actually really want to find room for that in the side deck. In every new meta or every new ban list that I try this deck, I always want to try to fit that card in somewhere just to see if it's going to work, because that card is very niche, but I can see it working against some matchups. Let's go for the side deck, guys. So like I said, the extra deck is just a bunch of blabber stuff. Just put whatever you guys want. If you guys want or have access to the Lyralist cards or any level 1s, link 1s, you guys could throw that in there. You're never going to XYZ summon in this deck because the birds lock you into only normal summons, no special summons. So there's no point. But again, this is just kind of like my second for fun deck, for me, not for my opponent. So side deck: 1 Harpy's Feather Duster and 3 Cosmic Cyclones. I just stated that at my locals there's a bunch of Unchained players, so this hitting your opponent's Unchained cards is just really, really strong. Or even if you're facing against like Labyrinth or something like that, just a really good strong card because it banishes, it doesn't destroy. For the the extending of the handshake, if you're going first, 3 Harpy's Featherstorm plus 6 Harpy's Featherstorms. So 3 Harpy's Featherstorms, 3 Trap Tricks. Going first, I always side this card in. I side out the evenlies, and I usually side these cards in. Harpy's Featherstorm just makes it so that your opponent cannot play the game and will probably scoop that turn. The reason, again, why I don't run this in the main, some Floowandereeze players, like, this card is an insane card. This card is is a busted card. It will win you the game by itself. The only reason I don't play this card going in my build is because I don't have access to thrusts. I don't have access to triple tactics. I don't have access to those things because a lot of players usually just run 1 in their main deck and then 2 thrusts, so that if your opponent activates Ash or whatever, you can just thrust it out and then at least sit on that. And that's a way of getting it from your deck. I unfortunately don't. I don't feel like ruining my consistency. So that's why I run the 3 Trap Tricks and the 3 Harpy's Featherstorm in the side deck, because I know that I'm going to see it more. For the rest of the side deck, I am running the 1 DD Crow. I just stated I play a lot of Unchained. DD Crow is just insane against that deck. Being able to banish their traps or their monsters so that they don't get it back. It's just a really, really good card. Really, really good card. And the reason why I only play 1, I guess I didn't even explain it, is because it's searchable off of Robina. Because it is a level 1 Wink Beast, so I can normal summon Robina, go through my plays or whatever the case may be, and then end on DD Crow in hand. Just searchable from the deck. 1 Dark Smorg, and I play the 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. Only reason why I do this is because there is a couple of also Labyrinth players in my deck and my locals. So if you bring out Dark Smorg plus Anti-Spell, I mean, they cannot play the game. It's just really, really insane. So that is it, guys, for my Floowandereeze deck for October 2023. And like I said, this deck has a very special place in my heart because it is for a very special person. So If anything, guys, if you have any comments or any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll be rightfully to reply. Okay, see you guys later.